Fermentation, movies and inebriation with films and fermentation, comedy mixed with tasty libations. Films and fermentation with Leo, Catman, and Mike.
Hey everybody, welcome to Films and Fermentation. Once again, I'm talking very friendly because tonight's a violent episode. We are talking about, tonight on episode 173, we're talking about fictional movie weapons. This is a bracket episode. We're going to do a little voting on what is the number one fictional movie weapon of all time. I know what I think it is. We'll see if the guys agree with
hand grenade
of Antioch. Yeah, the guys usually try to vote against me to break my heart, so we'll see what happens. As I said,
always there's times it was been you and I versus Kevin. Too.
Yeah, 90% of the time you break my heart. I knew it was you, Fredo. Welcome to Films and Fermentation. As I said, we are a movie and alcohol podcast, the number one pop culture podcast on Good Pods. I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
We're three friends who like talk shit about movies while getting shit-faced. As I said in this episode, we're diving into the dangerous, explosive, and sometimes downright ridiculous world of fictional weapons. From lightsabers to proton packs, we're covering the kind of gear that would make airport security break into a cold sweat. These are the weapons that made us gasp, cheer, and occasionally wonder, who thought that was a good idea? So grab your drink, keep your blaster set to stun, and join us as we arm ourselves with knowledge about the most memorable movie and TV weapons. Warning, side effects may include an uncontrollable urge to shout, "This is my boomstick!"
Pew, 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 pew.
I'm sorry, guys. I couldn't stop laughing because as soon as you said the explosive and all that stuff, I just couldn't help but think of
Nolan's diapers.
Nolan's diapers.
They are a deadly weapon.
Kevin right now is awaiting the eruption of Mount St. Helens in his living room.
Mount Vesuvius.
Mount Vesuvius, yes. Don't forget to drop it. We are highbrow comedy, folks.
Yeah,
Don't forget to drop us an email at filmsoffermentation@gmail.com or visit linktree.com/filmsoffermentation to find all of our social media and podcast links. Become part of the Films and Fermentation family by buying our merchandise at Teespring. We are an independent podcast, which means we are listener supported. So please consider joining our Patreon for as little as $1 a month to receive members only content. Go to patreon.com/films and fermentation, or as I said, you can buy our merchandise at teespring.com. You can also text us a message or a suggestion or a comment at 904-867-4466. That's the Films and Fermentation text line, 904-867-4466. What are we drinking tonight, gentlemen? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
All right, sir.
Kevin goes first.
Cleaning out the fridge. Had to
All
dig
right.
back into the back of the fridge to find a little dirt cake. Dirt Cake Imperial Stout, which is provided to us by Flying Fish Brewery. Flying Fish, I miss you so much. I miss you. They are now being brewed or bottled or canned or whatever in Baltimore, Maryland. This is an Imperial Stout with hints of cookie, vanilla, and it's rich and dark with an alcohol percentage of 10.5%.
Nice.
So, and you can see it's got a little garbage pail kid icon on the front.
All right. Michael, what you got going on?
I too am clearing out the beer fridges. So I am drinking a Kona Brewing Company Longbird Island Lager.
My favorite of the Konas. I love the longboard. Me tonight, I was going to try to do something like mixed drink related to the topic. I had found a couple things I can do. But as I was telling Mike in the pre-show, Kev, before you came on, I am podcasting under a blanket right now because it is fucking freezing in my house right now. And I don't want to turn the heat on because I know as soon as I do, it's going to go back to 80 degrees.
I turned my heat on, and I don't like to do that.
It is cold in my house. So tonight I decided to go with something warm. So I'm drinking a hot chocolate with some Bailey's Irish Cream added in for good measure. And because it's weapons related, I'm drinking it out of my Darth Vader mug. So,
You'd think that, I'm sure there's a mixed drink out there for the sonic screwdriver. It kind
Yeah,
of
I'm
just
sure.
lends itself to
Yeah.
it with a little orange juice vodka and then spice it up a little bit.
The one that I was originally going to do was called the Mjolnir.
Mjolnir? Like
the Mjolnir, the hammer. The
yeah,
Thor's
no,
hammer.
I know what it is, but like a mule? Like a
No, it was
mule
it was
kind of thing?
it was spelled like Mjolnir, like the hammer.
Okay.
It was gin. So I was going to use the gin Mike got me. It was gin, blue curacao, ginger ale, and there was like something else like simple sugar or something like that. And it was easy enough to make and sounded pretty good, but I'm cold, so I went hot chocolate.
I've had
Kevin,
some
family that having the smart thermostat, which
Yes.
turn on it's wonderful.
I gotta get that C-wire hookup.
If I wasn't worried about the copyright ruining our monetization of the video, I would have played the hot chocolate song from Polar Express.
Gotta make room in the fridge for all those angry elves coming out.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Mad Elf, right? Mad Elf.
That's it.
Mad Elf. Mike, anything special happened this week?
This week in film history.
So I threw this one on like 5 minutes before we started recording. Veteran character actor and horror icon Tony Todd passed away this week at the age of 69. He's probably best known for the Candyman and Final Destination films, which is why he is a horror icon. But he is a guy who's been in a million things. He's just one of those actors that pops up and you see him and you're like, oh, I know that guy, but you might not know his name.
He played Lagrange in The Crow.
Yeah, he was
which
in The Crow.
Top dollars, like right hand man.
Mm-hmm.
He's like one of those tall, black, fierce faced looking guys that they he's like somebody's right hand man or something in most films.
I saw him in a movie once. I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, I gotta find out the name because it was pretty good. It was a TV film that he was in, where he and a bunch of friends like meet up at this cabin for like this like gathering or something. And it's at this gathering that one of the friends admits that he's immortal and has been around for like centuries, and like starts telling them all these stories about things that he.
I saw
experienced.
This. Yeah,
I can't think of the name of the film, and like they don't believe him, but then he starts to like tell stories that kind of prove that he is who he says he is.
It was like a made-for-TV movie.
It was a made-for-TV movie, but it wasn't
not
bad.
good quality.
I mean, it wasn't like
No, I mean
it's not The Godfather, but it's better than like Stephen King's The Langoliers. Like it was an okay TV film.
My father had it on at his house, and I'm watching it. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, really?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like I normally don't go for TV movies other than like it with
come on. We know you sit down and watch all those Hallmark movies all the time.
Oh yeah. I saw a meme earlier that said scientists have gathered they are almost ready to come up with a second plot for the Hallmark films.
Wow.
So while I try to find this film, Mike, why don't you go to the next one you got there?
In 1910, the first possible movie stunt, a man jumps into the Hudson River from a burning balloon.
So I really tried to find this clip somewhere, but it's so friggin' old that it's probably not existing anymore anywhere.
Probably not.
But I did find an article about it online. So this is what I found. That's the guy in question here.
Yep.
On this day in 1910, Steeplejack Rodman Law jumped out of a burning hot air balloon into the Hudson River in what is apocryphally known as the first film stunt. Rodman was nicknamed the Unkillable Actor and starred in several feature films. One stunt broke his neck, but he healed up and kept working.
It's a flesh wound.
Just a flesh wound. So they said it's an apocryphal first stunt because there is no film clip that exists anymore of it. So it's kind of
Right.
like hearsay at this point, but who really knows? You know, it's still a pretty interesting story. What's the next one you got there, Mike?
In 1940, Walt Disney's animated film Fantasia, starring Leopold Tolstoy, the Philadelphia Orchestra, Mickey Mouse, and ballet dancing hippopotamuses, premiere at the Broadway Theater in New York City.
Just the words
Hippopotamuses.
hippopotamus. Yeah, just made me laugh a little bit. I can't find this movie. You
1946.
can keep going. I'm still looking for this Tony Todd film, so you just keep
Okay.
going.
In 1946, Walt Disney's Song of the South was released. And
Song of the South.
now they disavow all knowledge of it.
Yeah.
Because it's now you can't, that offends people.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it didn't age well. We'll put it that way. It really didn't age well. I can't find this movie that Tony Todd was in, but he was in a film in 2022 called Bitch Ass, which makes me want to check that out.
He was on Cop Rock.
Pop Rock. Wow.
Mhm.
Jeez. What's the next one you got there, Mike?
1994, Gothic horror film Interview with a Vampire, based on a book by Anne Rice, directed by Neil Jordan, is released, starring Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, and Christian Slater.
And film debut of Kirsten Dunst.
Yes.
I like Interview with the Vampire. I really do.
Oh, I think it's good.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Of
Yeah,
the vampire movies, that seemed, good.
It actually hasn't aged all that well. I watched it too recently. It's like, ooh.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. You can kind of hear Brad Pitt whining about the costume as he's acting
Yes.
a little bit, but I think there's still some things about it I really find entertaining. Like, I love the whole theater of the vampire thing in France is like amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I heard the series is actually doing pretty well too.
It's on like its second season now, I think. So yeah, I haven't had time to check it out, but next one is a film that turned into one of the better video games too.
Yes, the 1995 GoldenEye, the 17th James Bond film, released, starring Pierce Brosnan for the first time, Robbie Coltrane, and Judi Dench as M.
Mm-hmm. And she would stay with that role until the first film with the first couple films with Daniel Craig, right?
Yeah.
Judi Dench.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. An okay movie.
Who did I hear is next in line for 007? Aaron Taylor.
There's a few names I've heard. Aaron Taylor Johnson's one of them.
Yeah.
I've heard Henry Cavill's name a few times. I've heard a push for Idris Elba to do it, be the first Black James Bond. Yeah, I mean, you name the dashing British actor, and they've been named.
Oh, you did know that James Bond is just it's just a Time Lord.
Yeah. Well, no, that's the fan theory I heard, is that even that James Bond and 007 are both code names, so that's why he always looks different. Yeah.
I saw something that says James Bond's a Time Lord. Here's all his
here's all his regenerations.
visions.
I mean, like I just said, like if you named a dashing British actor and he's been named as the next James Bond, I even saw Cillian Murphy's name a few times. So I don't know. I mean, I think any one of them would be a good choice.
Yeah.
Leo, The Man from Earth, 2007.
Is that the movie?
That's the movie.
Oh, you know why I couldn't find it? I was going back to the 90s. That's what I thought the movie was made. That's how
because that's how bad the quality
of the
was.
film.
Yeah.
It could have been 1989, the quality of that film.
Mhm.
The Man from Earth. Yeah, that's it. It wasn't bad. I mean, as far as TV movies go.
It has the one guy from Star Trek Enterprise on it too.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that played the Doctor.
Picardo.
John Billingsley.
Oh, I'm thinking of Voyager, I think.
Yeah.
What's the next one you got there, Mike?
Ooh. In 1999, Toy Story 2, directed by John Lasseter, starring Tom Hanks and Tim Allen, premieres in the U.S.
All right. Without thinking about it too much, rank your Toy Stories.
3, 2, 1. No. 3, 1, 2, 4.
Yeah, I think mine is 3, 1, 2, 4 as well. I love 3.
Mhm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I like 1 for what it is. 2 I thought was okay. 2's low on my list because every time I see Katie's cousin Garrett, he reminds me that I look like Big Al from Big Al's Toy Barn.
What I liked about 2, though, was the introduction of Bullseye and Jesse and Prospector.
You didn't like Buzz finding out that Zord was his father?
No.
Spoiler alert. Next one you got there, Mike.
In 2002, film Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets is released, based on the second book of the series by J.K. Rowling.
Not my favorite of the films.
Mm-mm.
I mean, it did what it had to do, which was like continue the story and show you the kids growing up and all that. But
Yeah,
I think as far as like the stakes go, it got a little heavier as the films went along. So
I think I still better. I think I liked it better than the third one, though.
really,
Yeah,
I like Prisoner. I thought that was a pretty good movie.
yeah,
I don't know.
it was okay.
It's funny. Like we were talking last week about Sorcerer's Stone and
Right.
how it was actually the Philosopher's Stone, but they changed it in America. And earlier today, I saw a video. It was side by side of Hermione talking about the Sorcerer's Stone in the first film, but it was the British version and the American version, and they changed the wording in both films. Like you don't see her say it; it's ADR because it's off screen, but you hear her say sorcerer in the one and philosopher in the other. Speaking of James Bond,
Yeah, there's a lot of Bonds, a lot of
a lot of Bonds and Potters.
In 2006, Casino Royale, the 21st James Bond film, premieres in London, starring Daniel Craig for the first time, and Eva Green premieres in London.
Still the only James Bond Daniel Craig film I've seen so far is Casino Royale.
Really? Because
Yeah.
Skyfall was really good.
I've heard like Skyfall's really good, and
No Time to Die was pretty.
No Time to Die was pretty decent. But yeah, I had the only one I've seen, and I like Casino Royale was awesome. I thought it was a really good movie. So I mean, I'll check them out at some point. You know. Next one, Mike.
2010, Disney's 3D computer animated musical adventure film Tangled premieres in the El Capitan Theater, loosely based on the German fairy tale Rapunzel by brothers Jacob and Wilhelm Grimm.
Definitely loosely based.
Very loose.
I don't remember there
didn't
being
have a dashing, smoldering
hero.
male character. Well, he's not the hero.
I don't remember there being a little pet iguana in the
Pascal.
Pascal. Yeah. I actually do like Tangled though. I think it's a fun film. But I really love the next film on here. This is one of my favorites of the Disney films.
In 2016, Moana, animated Disney film directed by Ron Clements and John Musker, with voices by Alolai Carvalho, and The Rock, premieres in Los Angeles.
I'll give you a pass on that. It's a Hawaiian name. It's hard to say.
Well, you're supposed to pronounce every freaking letter in Hawaii.
Yeah, I think it's like Aluaya Cravallo or something like that. Yeah, I don't even know how to say it either. And his name's not The Rock, it's Dwayne Johnson.
It's Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yeah, I love
final
Moana.
boss.
I love Moana. It's my favorite. It's one of my favorite of the animated Disney films.
So are you excited about Moana 2?
You're welcome.
No. What's that, Mike?
You excited about Moana 2 then?
I'll say it. I don't know if I'll wait. I'll probably wait for it to come out on Disney Plus, but I'll watch it.
Okay,
I'm not. I'm less sure about the live action version of Moana.
Well, but you have a nice shiny crab in it. That's why.
Honey.
Honey.
That the voice of the shiny crab is the guy that created What We Do in the Shadows, Jermaine Clement. And the last one you got there, Mike.
2019, Joker, starring Joaquin Phoenix, is the first rated R film to earn $1 billion worldwide.
And spawned a sequel that seemingly everybody's angry about. I haven't seen it yet,
I haven't seen it yet either.
but there
I
is a
hear it's a
lot of.
musical.
It's a musical.
That doesn't mean it's
Apparently,
automatically bad. It's
no,
just
I'm not
No,
saying it for that reason. Apparently, a
no, but you,
large.
you can't. It's kind of you can't go from.
I know, yeah, but apparently, like a large version of the film is a court case in which he's defending himself and showing basically clips from
Yeah,
the first movie. So
oh,
there's like a clip show in the middle of the film. I don't know. I just a lot of what I've heard about it has just not been complimentary. So I'll watch it when it comes out on like cable or something.
yeah.
Mike, before you fall asleep on us there as you yawn away, you have any must try beer or craft destinations for us?
I've had a long week, guys. Thank God I'm off
We
Friday.
all have.
I'm a craft destination in Oklahoma,
Mm-hmm.
the Prairie Artisans Ale. Some call this Oklahoma's most renowned brewery. Just inside the flashy 8th Street Market District, the brewery offers a unique and eclectic range of craft beers to tantalize your taste buds. How about an imperial stout aged with coffee, uh, cocoa nibs, vanilla, and chili peppers? It's literally the bomb. Or how about a vape tricks, a sweet cherry infused sour gauche sour, dark, funky farmhouse ales fermented with wild yeasts are also in their wheelhouse. So stop by the tap room for the latest seasonals and special releases. They're only available on site. There you go.
You had me at coffee and cocoa nibs and lost me at
mm,
jalapenos.
yep.
Yeah, the chili peppers. Whoa, I didn't mind the
Yeah,
vanilla in there.
yeah. I didn't mind anything else. All right, so we're going to Kevin's segment tonight. We're changing the intro a little bit here because we want to make money. So tonight it's time for beer news is good news, and I think I got
Beer
that.
is good. Beer is
Beer is
good. Beer
good.
is
Beer
good.
is good. Maybe I'll do my own version
I
of
thought
it.
it
Let's
was.
go drink some beer.
Here,
I,
yeah.
Let's
I, I
go
think
drink some
I think it should
beer.
be more like beer news is beer news.
Yeah, but this actually looks like pretty good news tonight, so we're going to go with the good news. We'll change it up as the headlines come out.
I'm going to educate you gentlemen tonight. We are doing a little bit of a research, finding. Do you guys have a preference to? I mean, we all have different tastes in beer, but like, will the color of the bottle dissuade you from getting something?
Not really. I
No,
prefer it in bottles over cans, but
As do I.
same. Yeah, I do too. I I look at it as like when I see a green bottle, uh, I'm only going to drink it if it's a particular kind of beer because I know what I like and what I don't like. And but I've never noticed like a taste difference because of the bottle color.
Okay.
So like there's like the Buddha beer comes in a green bottle. I love that beer. There's like
that's a great lager.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's like Heineken comes in a green bottle. So it's a lot of those like light German beers like Beck's come in like green bottles. But I've never noticed. So tell us, is there a difference? I'm assuming there
Well,
probably
there
is.
is, and the reason for the different colors. I mean, historically there were reasons, um, but it's all to fight light. It's all fighting UV light from the sun or direct UV lighting.
Mm.
That's where the significance comes in. Um, if you've ever popped open a bottle of beer and wondered why your beer bottles came in various colors, you might be surprised to find out that the colors are silently battling sunlight. The color of beer bottles holds a much greater significance than just aesthetics or marketing. It profoundly impacts the preservation of flavor, and freshness in beer. Beer has been bottled since the 19th century, mainly because glass was discovered to be an excellent material for keeping beer fresh. However, brewers soon realized that clear glass bottles were not apt for storing beer. Beers kept in clear bottles would, when exposed to sunlight, contain flavors and aromas that were unpleasant. Breweries called this phenomenon light struck, which happens when UV rays penetrate the beer and react with its ingredients, particularly the hops. Hops contain isohumulones, compounds that can give off a skunk-like smell when exposed to UV light. We've all had the skunk, haven't we?
Ooh, not the
Skunk beer. Brown bottles are the protectors. Brown and amber bottles will probably provide the best protection for your beer. They prevent destructive UV rays from entering the brew by preventing any light from passing through the bottle. They thereby prevent sensitive compounds in the beer from undergoing chemical reactions that would create unpleasant flavors. Hence, brown bottles assure purity in drinks taste. Brown bottles generally emerged when brewers were desperate to combat the adverse effects of light and other exposures on their product. Today, they are still dominant in the brewing industry. Green bottles are a risky choice. During World War II, brown glass was scarce in the market. Breweries started using green glass at the time, and consumers related quality beer with this color. However, they do not offer the same level of protection against UV rays as brown bottles. Beers that are stored in green bottles are more likely to become light struck, resulting in the infamous skunky flavor. Still, many breweries stand their ground and use green bottles simply because of the branding and tradition, as well as for those drinkers who have fallen in love with the flavor. When I think of a green bottled beer, gentlemen, I think Rolling Rock.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah.
The clear bottle, the OG or the wild card. Clear glass bottles are an entirely different story. The clear bottles enable one to view the color of the beer while providing no protection against UV light. Therefore, beers in clear bottles are most likely to suffer light struck if left outside for an extended period under direct sunlight exposure. But there's a twist. In recent years, many manufacturers have begun applying UV protective coatings to clear glass bottles. These advancements help to strike a balance between the risks associated with clear packaging while allowing consumers to see the product inside. And then, of course, there's the rise of cans. In addition to traditional bottles, cans have now become increasingly popular among breweries and consumers. Cans are 100%, if you didn't know, 100% UV protected. Therefore, the beer can stay fresh and unexposed to any form of UV light when it's stored in them. They
You're
also
saying
get
that the
chilled.
sunlight can't penetrate aluminum? Is that what you're
It cannot.
I don't know.
There have been studies. They also chill faster and are quite convenient for outdoor sessions or gatherings or long night drives along a road. Your beer bottle color isn't just a meaningless marketing gimmick, but rather a scientific development between science and consumers' desires, changing over time, with time over centuries. So the next time you go for a cold one, think not only about what's inside, but how its containers deliver a perfect sip. And then it says something about beer being healthy. We don't need to hear any of the beer not being healthy.
I think I heard this stuff about the first time when we took the tour of the brewery at Chamonix Creek. They're talking about how they use cans because you can't get the light can't get to the can.
I think a lot of the craft breweries use cans because it's cheaper than bottling it.
It's cheaper too, yeah.
Yeah, probably. And that was a joke about driving on long, winding roads while driving. Don't do that. That's a bad idea. Bad joke. Bad joke, Kevin.
Bad joke.
Uh,
What does Travis and Jason Kelsey's beer taste like? I'm curious.
Now this is coming from the Kansas City Star, so this is a location that's focused on Travis and not so much Jason. Anyway, here were the results.
Don't worry, the refs will save him anyway. Did I
Travis Kelce is everywhere these days, on the gridiron, on and off stage with his girlfriend Taylor Swift. and in TV shows, commercials, and popular podcasts. The Chiefs' legendary tight end has also been repping a growing roster of foods and drink brands. He's even invested in some of them. Garage Beer is one of the latter. Travis and his brother Jason bought into a small batch brewery in Covington, Kentucky. The result is a brand whose packaging proclaims it's beer that tastes like beer. Well, that's good. The product is a basic.
I hate when my beers don't taste like beer.
Seriously. The product is a basic light lager, and we enlisted some of the Star staff to help sample the lime version. Our roster included a full-scale beer enthusiast, a Chiefs fan, and those who just wanted to see what the fuss was all about.
Leo,
Common
that was
response.
not true comment.
What's that?
Because you were just talking about how you like your beer that tastes like coffee.
No, I don't mind if it has a little coffee taste to it. It still tastes like beer. I just don't like when my beer tastes like soft pretzels.
That's true.
Or salt
Continue,
water.
sir.
Common response was, if you like Coors Light, then you'll like this.
Mm.
Like Coors Light. Someone called it college beer. Another suggested it falls in the category of yard beer. One of the more enthusiastic panelists loved the lime taste and went so far as to deem it playoff worthy.
Mm.
That's it for that story. Thank you, Kansas City Star.
It's not like
not a good closing.
Not a yeah. I'm not too enthusiastic after that description.
That's the end of it. Okay.
Right. It's playoff worthy.
All right,
Anyway.
gentlemen. Lastly, beer versus wine and liquor drinkers. Here, who has the worst diet? Unfortunately, gentlemen, it's us. Beer drinkers won't be in good spirits when they read this news. Lager lovers tend to have the worst diets, exercise less, and smoke more cigarettes than people who drink wine, liquor, or the combination, a new study finds.
That's why I drink more mixed drinks than anything else. I'm trying to hold on.
What are you trying to say? I've got all sorts of facts over here that says beer helps with lower diabetes and helps against kidney stones. I've read some of this on the air already.
Well,
says the guy with diabetes and kidney stones who smokes all the time.
Yeah, but I don't drink as much beer as I
Drink more; it'll help.
That's right.
No. I'm sorry. No. Don't drink more. It won't help, according to this article.
Researchers compared the diets of more than 1,900 U.S. alcohol drinkers. 38.9 consume only beer, 21.8 only wine, 18.2 only liquor, and then 21% a combination of all alcohol types. None of the groups came close to achieving the 80-point score that is considered an adequate diet on a 100-point healthy eating index, a U.S. measure of diet quality. Wine drinkers scored a 55. Liquor only and combination drinkers earned nearly 53, and beer drinkers posted the lowest score of 49.
Okay, I want to know what the non-drinkers got.
I don't think they were considered for this. Beer only drinkers are more likely to be male, younger, smokers, and low income, the researchers determined, and they reported the highest daily caloric intake and the lowest level.
We need to move on from this. Mike is getting triggered.
Okay, I'm not young. I am a smoker. I think I make a pretty good paycheck. I'm not low income here. Come on now.
They're not pointing out you specifically, Michael. It's a survey.
Study, Michael.
There's other people.
Study.
Some of those people are poor smokers with bad diets.
Kevin should be offended by this survey because he probably drinks more beer than I do.
Oh, I probably do. I don't get offended too easily. Lead study author Dr. Madeline Novak, chief resident at Tulane School of Medicine's Internal Medicine Residency Program, reasoned that beer may be a popular choice in places where foods are low in fiber and high in carbohydrates and processed meats. Wine, particularly red wine, is often paired in more balanced meals that contain meat, veggies, and dairy, Novak added. She also suggested that the inverse is true, that dietary choices influence alcohol preferences. For example, fried and salty foods may inspire beer consumption, which I agree with. Yeah, if I'm having a slice of pizza, I'm not having a glass of wine. If I'm having pizza, I'm having beer. If I'm having pasta or Italian, I might have wine. You know, regardless of why someone is drinking alcohol, Novak pointed out that the alcohol abuse is the leading cause of sclerosis in the U.S. and metabolic dysfunction associated steatotic. Oh, there you go.
That's
Liver
easy for
disease.
you to say.
Yeah. Yes, it is. It is rapidly becoming more common. Both types of liver disease often coexist, and lifestyle changes are key to managing and preventing these conditions, starting with understanding that the link between alcohol use and poor nutrition. Encourages patients to share their alcohol consumption habits, including the type of booze, with their physician. Registered nutritionist and dietitian also suggests that physicians and registered dietitians discuss alcohol. I was going to say take alcohol intake with patients. Discuss it with the patients. While alcohol was once thought of as healthy, it gradually seems less so. Even red wine doesn't seem to have the same healthy halo it used to. The public would do itself a bit of good in drinking a little alcohol and drinking as little alcohol as possible and eating healthy, mostly whole foods, plant-heavy diets. Yada, yada, yada. Some limitations. Okay. That's it.
This is the angriest I've seen Michael about a topic on the show since the Marvel versus DC debate.
No, I think
This is like up there with the X-Men debacle.
the X-Men. Oh, the X-Men was whoa. If you haven't, go back and listen to that old episode. Man, I went off.
So that was our Beer News is Good News segment. Before we take a short
Offend
break,
Mike
I have
anymore?
some. What's that?
Before you offend Mike anymore?
Yeah, before we Mike and work. Before we take a short break, I have some breaking news. This just in from the Hollywood Reporter. Christopher Nolan is currently working on a feature film project set to be released in 2026. It is an untitled film as of yet, but it has a confirmed cast right now that includes Anne Hathaway, Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Zendaya, and Lupita Nyong'o. So that's a pretty good cast right there. I'm kind of
Yeah,
excited to see Tom Holland in a Chris Nolan film. I could see him playing like a young Matt Damon character.
I was going to say, as Matt Damon, I mean, Matt Damon was used in Oppenheimer, wasn't he? He was one of the.
He was the general that ran the program.
All right, so he's worked with everybody but Tom Holland, Zendaya, and I don't know if that last individual has worked.
Lupita Nyong'o is the voice of Maz Kanata in the new Star Wars film. She was in 12 Years a Slave. She was the Black Panther's girlfriend in the Black Panther film.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Lupita Nyong'o. Really good actress. So it's right now it's a pretty stacked cast. Yeah, Damon and Hathaway are the only ones in the confirmed cast right now who have worked with Nolan before. She was in Interstellar. Damon was in what? Damon was in Interstellar. He was in Oppenheimer.
Yes, Damon was in Interstellar. I forgot all about.
Yeah, he has that cameo at the end. Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited to see this. This sounds pretty good. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Here's some words from our sponsors, Coffee Brothers, then we'll be back with our main segment.
I love a good beer, but right now, I could use a good cup of coffee.
Have you heard about Coffee Brothers?
Oh, yeah. They're that coffee company out of New York, right?
Well, they're more like a coffee wizards of New York City. They source these amazing seasonal blends and single origin coffees. It's like a flavor adventure in every cup. And get this, they roast everything in small batches. None of that mass-produced stuff. It's like each bean gets the VIB treatment.
VIB?
Very important bean.
Sounds fancy, but is it worth it?
Definitely. Plus, they're a two-person team. I mean, that's dedication right there. Two brothers, one mission to caffeinate the world. And right now, you can save 10% on your order. I mean, who doesn't love a good discount?
All right, you've convinced me. Let's get some Coffee Brothers now.
Coffee Brothers, where every cup is a sip of perfection. Save 10% on your next order with the code FNF10. That's FNF10. Cheers to great coffee. All right, we are back from our short break. Thank you for sticking with us. We're moving on to our main segment, which is a bracket segment. We're going to do a bracket on fictional movie and TV weapons. Tonight's main segment is brought to you by 2024's The Substance, produced by Working Title Films, starring Demi Moore, Margaret Qualley, and Dennis Quaid. The Substance, a body horror film so disturbing, even David Cronenberg asked, "What the fuck did I just watch?" Working Title Films is not an official sponsor of Films of Fermentation. Any resemblance to actual events, locales, persons, living or dead is entirely coincidental. Yes, I watched this movie the other night and I thought I need to do another like fake sponsored by segment about this movie. This was, my God, one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen. Not a bad movie, just really weird.
Did you say Randy Quaid was in it?
Dennis Quaid.
Oh, Dennis Quaid.
Dennis,
not the Quaid. Not the
Dennis
Quaid,
Quaid,
I would think of.
Dennis Quaid plays a sleazy, like low, like movie producer guy, kind of like a Harvey Weinstein kind of character.
Mm-hmm.
It is such a weird role to see Dennis Quaid in. It is not a Dennis Quaid thing you're used to saying. But Demi Moore is really good in it, and Margaret Qualley, who is Andy McDowell's daughter, is in it, and she's really good too. And it's an interesting movie, an interesting concept. A little too long because, again, I hate that movies have to be like close to 3 hours anymore. It would have been about a half hour shorter if they stopped taking long, lingering shots on people walking down hallways. But it was otherwise it was a pretty good movie. It was just really weird. So I thought it'd be funny to do another like phony brought to you segment tonight.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but the real segment tonight is a bracket on fictional movie weapons. Now we have a top 16 bracket that we're going to go through. But before we get to the top 16, here are a few things that just fell short of the top 16 in no particular order. Just some weapons that we wanted to mention that are cool fictional weapons. If you are listening to us on Spotify or Apple Pods or whatever, we hope you're familiar enough with these weapons to be able to picture them yourself. But if you're watching us on YouTube, I am going to be popping up some images in the background here of the weapons we're speaking about. At least some of them. I don't have something for all of them, but our honorable mentions for this evening are RoboCop's automatic pistol. Again, it's a gun. Guns are real. They're not fictional items, but the gun that he has in that film is almost impossible to exist. So didn't make the top 16, but it's still a pretty cool weapon.
Still like the spin, and you put it in
The spin, yeah, he puts it inside his leg. Yeah. Just the fact that it's like it fires so many bullets, but it's a handgun is just kind of unrealistic. We have, so sometimes I try to avoid multiple topics from the same film, but in this case it was hard to do that. So I have multiple weapons from the Lord of the Rings already on the bracket. So just barely making, so just an honorable mention not making the bracket is Sting, the sword of Frodo, which glows when orcs are near. I mean, it's a cool weapon. It's got an important part in the story, but I don't think it's as big as the other weapons that are already on the bracket. So
I think it's made by elves.
Yeah.
I think it's made by Keebler elves.
Made by Keebler elves. Chocolate. The other one is also
with Lord of the Rings. You can go with Gandalf's sword. You can go with Aragorn's sword.
Well, you'll see. There's other things on the bracket already. I have Long Claw, which is Jon Snow's sword from Game of Thrones. I mean, again, it's a sword, which isn't a fictional weapon, but it's fictional in the sense that it belongs to a fictional character. But it has a very iconic design with the wolf's head on the handle to represent the Stark family. We have the Plasma Caster from Predator, which is the little laser on his shoulder with the reticulal thing that he uses to aim.
They stole that from Short Circuit.
Yeah. I remember that scene in Short Circuit where he blasts the guy's chest out with his plasma caster.
Hello, bozos.
Johnny Five is alive. Watch out, motherfucker. The pulse rifle from Alien, which I think is an amazing weapon.
I love that Nerf came out with a version of this too.
Yeah. I mean, it's a machine gun with a rocket launcher, grenade launcher attached to it, and it's a pretty badass weapon, especially when Sigourney Weaver's using it. The next one I have on here, I put on here for Mike. It's an impractical weapon, so it's definitely not going to make the bracket, but it's a fun one to talk about anyway. The Tri-Blade from Sword and Sorcery.
Yeah, the two blades.
Yeah, two blades that split apart from the center blade to make a three-bladed sword with one handle. It is ridiculous. And if
I think I've seen this thing at Fogo de Chao. You know, they come around and like, would you like support?
There's a side of lamb hanging off of it. What I remember from this movie, it's been a while since I've seen this film, but like if you watch a clip of it, it's like it's such an impractical weapon, even to design for the film, that you can see it like shaking on its hinges.
Yeah.
We have the Disruptor from Star Trek, which was added right before the show, so I don't have a picture of that one, but if you're a Star Trek fan, you know what a Disruptor is. Popular among the Romulans, right?
Romulans and Klingons.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Another one that I added right before the show, so I don't have a picture of it, is the Omega-13 from Galaxy Quest, which is a weapon that can turn back time 13 whole seconds, which is enough time to change an event. And I have one dishonorable mention. It's Dirk Diggler's trouser snake from Boogie Nights.
Jesus Christ.
Mark Wahlberg's fake mule. It's a pretty dangerous weapon. And before we get to the actual bracket, I'm going to do the shout outs before the bracket tonight. Because I have to say most of these are actually on our bracket already. So we have Casey Shear. Wait, what's up?
Can you take the three-bladed sword off the screen?
Why, you getting disturbed by it now? Would you rather I put Dirk Diggler's mule up there? If we really want to lose monetization of the episode, I'll put Mark Wahlberg's phony penis up on the screen. That'll really do us in. So I said on the socials yesterday, lightsabers aside, what's the coolest fictional movie weapon? Asking for a friend. Casey Shear of the Deluxe Edition podcast wrote down, it's a tough one because there's so many epic choices, but I'm going to have to go with the proton pack from Ghostbusters. Its ghost trapping ability, don't cross the streams, the way it's a nuclear powered backpack. It's the perfect blend of sci-fi and tech. And I agreed, and I said, it's on the bracket, so please listen to the episode to hear how it does. Some guy named Kevin on Facebook wrote the Infinity Gauntlet.
He's amazing. I love that guy. Tomato potato.
Brian Rowe on Facebook said, going all the way back to 1983 for this one, but it has to be the glaive from Krull.
The glaive
is on the bracket, so don't worry about that one, sir. You'll hear about that one tonight. Tony Dar on Facebook gave me the Flying Guillotine, which I said I've never heard of. I had to look it up. I did find a picture of it, but I don't think I have it on here. I don't think I uploaded it, but it's a martial arts film from the 70s, and it looked like a saw blade on a chain. I would like fling it, and it would cut the people's heads off and shit. So I told him I'm not familiar with this, but I'll have to check it out and say. Jason Summit on Facebook wrote, Mel Gibson is Martin Riggs. After all, he is the lethal weapon. My response to that was, well played, sir. So please check out the episode tonight. So those are just some of the few shout outs that I had for this episode. So let's get into the actual bracket for this evening. So we have a top 16. And here's how it's broken down. I tried to be as judicious with this as possible and put things in spots that I thought they belonged in. It is a true bracket, so it's first seed against last seed and working its way down. So in the number one seed, the lightsaber from Star Wars. And in this case, I am not talking about just any old lightsaber. I'm talking about like lightsabers in general. So, you know, that whole conglomeration that you see on the screen here, from Darth Maul to Yoda to Mace Windu to Kylo Ren, all the different lightsabers that appeared in the Star Wars universe. In the number 2 position, we have the phaser from Star Trek. Mike pointed out to me earlier, this is the version 2.0 of the phaser.
Phaser 2, yep.
There are
Phaser
different versions of it. Obviously, the ones in Next Generation are like the small handheld ones.
The
Um,
Phaser 1 is actually the little black piece. It's in Phaser 2.
yeah, so I put this one down because I feel like this is one of the ones that people would be most familiar with because it's the one that appears in the early films for the Star Trek franchise. In the 3 seed, we have the sonic screwdriver from Doctor Who, which, like the lightsaber, there are many different iterations of it. So I have all the sonic screwdrivers that were used for the first, I want to say that's the first 12 Doctors that's on the screen there. We don't have Ncuti Gatwa's sonic screwdriver on there, but everybody else's is.
Yep.
And no sonic sunglasses like Peter Capaldi wore. Just sonic screwdrivers. In the 4th position, we have, my pictures are out of order. I got to find them here. Here we go. The proton pack from Ghostbusters. Switch me on. We're all wearing a bunch of unlicensed nuclear accelerators on our back. In the number 5 position, Wolverine's adamantium claws. Come on, man, that's iconic. That's got to be on the list. In the 6th position, we have the Elder Wand from Harry Potter. Where is it? I'm trying to find.
Harry broke it.
No, I have all these pictures, but some of them are like they're all out of order for some reason. So I'm trying to I don't think I had the picture of that on here. Oh, here it is. The Elder Wand. There it is. Owned by Dumbledore and then eventually owned by Harry. Then in the 7th position, one of my favorite weapons in movies, the noisy cricket.
Man,
I don't know why that picture's appearing like that, man, but it's like it looks like it's being aimed at Mike right now.
Yeah. Man, like I'll break this thing.
You're like sucking on the nozzle right now, Sarah. Making like a circus seal. Look at him. In the 8th position, we have the Batleth from Star Trek as well. Another Star Trek weapon, the Klingon Batleth, which was created for Next Generation.
Yes.
And I think it's a really cool weapon. I love the Batleth. Number 9 is Kevin's suggestion, the Infinity Gauntlet.
Ultimate weapon.
Pretty much, man. You can snap your finger and wipe out half the universe. And then so what was that? I lost my place already.
We're on 10.
That is it. All right, so number 10 in the 10th position is Cap's shield. Captain America's shield, which can be used as a weapon. For anybody out there who wants to argue with me about it.
Fancy Frisbee.
Fancy Frisbee. Number 11 position, another Marvel weapon, Mjolnir, Thor's hammer. In the 12th position, One Ring to Rule Them All. From the Lord of the Rings, One Ring.
Is that a weapon?
Yeah,
so.
I mean,
Yeah.
kind of.
How he conquers Middle Earth.
Yeah, exactly. In 13th position, the glaive from Krull. It is such an impractical weapon, but it's so cool. The glaive. Another cool thing about Krull, film debut of Liam Neeson.
Yes.
In the 14th position, Freddy's glove from Nightmare on Elm Street.
Cheap Wolverine
Kinda like-
knockoff.
Yeah, I'm gonna say like I would love it if Wolverine's claw and Freddy's glove end up facing each other in this bracket. In the 15th position, we have the Identity Disc from Tron. There's the original version and the Tron Legacy version. And in the 16th position, the final seed, Mike's favorite, the Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch.
Oh, it's just a little bunny. It wouldn't hurt anyone.
From Monty Python and the Holy
Count
Grail.
not once, not twice, but thrice.
It's the from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and most recently, Ready Player One. The Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. So we got our bracket here. So that means our first seed and 16th seed will be facing off in round one. The lightsaber from Star Wars versus the Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch.
Oh.
Let's discuss the Holy Hand Grenade.
So, which is a cooler weapon? A laser sword used by space wizards or a fictional hand grenade whose purpose is to kill a psychopathic bunny?
Can't go against religion, man.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
go with
they're both
lightsaber.
religious weapons in a way.
I think I'm gonna go with the lightsaber on this.
If I didn't go with the lightsaber, I'd lose my Star Wars card.
I have yet to hear an explanation as to how Mace Windu's lightsaber was purple. Going with the Holy Hand Grenade.
Because he has a purple kyber stone.
That doesn't make sense. It's just
So
no. I
Yeah, all
want to
the
believe.
stones-
I want to believe.
Stones will go with the color. A blue kyber stone gives you a blue laser.
Well, that doesn't happen with the Sith lightsabers. The Sith have
That's
to
because
bleed
they
their
get
lightsabers.
they get corrupted. And
So
become
listen
red.
to me. Mace Windu, who, as we all know, was a bad motherfucker, was tempted by the dark side to a point where his crystal bled slightly, changing it from blue to purple. And then he came back.
you guys are fucking nerds.
And
Much
Leo,
better than he found a blue kyber crystal.
And a purple kyber
Kyber.
crystal.
So the
That's
real
why-
story, the real story behind it is George Lucas asked Samuel Jackson what color lightsaber he wanted, and Samuel Jackson said he wanted to be able to see himself in the battle scene and figure out where he was. So he was like, "I want a purple one," thinking that Lucas would say no, it's either green, blue, or whatever. And Lucas was like, "All right."
And hence why, Ahsoka's are yellow to begin with.
Ahsoka's are white, right?
Originally they were yellow because she has a yellow.
Ray Skywalker's is yellow.
I have heard that like this the High Republic Jedi had like yellow, or maybe the sentries, who protected the temple had yellow.
In
Like
the
I've heard different reasons for the different colors.
yeah, in the Knights of the Old Republic video game, it was one was for the Sentinels, one was for the Guardians, one was like they had different like roles and different colors that
Right,
would
the
match the roles
colors
or whatever.
were part
Yeah.
of their position.
Mace Windu's lightsaber is the only one that says "bad motherfucker" on it too. Second seed versus the 15th seed. The second seed is the phaser from Star Trek versus the identity disc from Tron.
I'm not losing my Star Trek card.
I was gonna say, yeah, I'm not a big enough fan of Tron to want to like vote over Star Trek. So.
not over to, a CD that they can throw around.
Talk about an overrated frisbee, Kevin.
A phaser, please.
Yeah, not that we needed it. It was 2 votes for it already. Let's see here. So that was the second seed. So third seed, the sonic screwdriver versus the 14th seed, Freddy's glove from Nightmare on Elm Street. Ooh.
Well, I'm going to go with the sonic screwdriver just because you could probably make Freddy's glove. to make it an
See,
actual weapon. Then
here's the thing. I was gonna say is like I love Doctor Who. You know I love Doctor Who, but the sonic screwdriver to
Yep.
me is not really a weapon.
It's a tool.
It's a tool. It's classified as a sci-fi weapon, which is
yes,
why
but
it's
the
on the
way he
list.
uses it, the way he
Sometimes, but not.
uses it is
He
a
doesn't.
weapon.
Yeah, but I don't know. So Mike says sonic screwdriver. I'm going with Freddy's glove as
Freddy's
much as I
glove.
love. Yeah, it's like as much as I love Doctor Who, I don't feel like it's a true weapon. So I'm going with Freddy's glove. Freddy's glove is the first upset in the bracket. That takes us to 4th seed, the Proton Pack versus the 13th seed, the Glaive from Krull. Hold on. This is all I got to say about this bracket right here. Hold on.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Well,
We just-
unlike you,
Thank you so much.
I'm going for the glaive because the proton pack isn't used as a weapon; it's used to catch ghosts.
It's a weapon. It busts ghosts.
It
They are
catches
ghost busters.
it lassos ghosts. It's a fucking rope.
They used it to defeat the Marshmallow Man. If you don't remember, he blew up and poured all over the dick dude.
The dick dude.
Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
The dick. Yes,
I'm going proton pack.
I'm going Proton Pack.
I knew you guys would.
The
Talk about that
Glaive.
cool bit moving forward
As
over.
much as I love Krull as a curiosity of bad 80s movies, it's not beating the Proton Pack. So, where are we at now? We are now at the 5th seed, Wolverine's Claws versus the One Ring. That's weird. There's a weird. So, would Wolverine's Claws, since they're made out of adamantium, be strong enough to cut through the One Ring?
Well, here's my
this is
thing
a
about-
real nerd conversation for you.
This is where I'm going to go with the One Ring.
Yeah.
It only works for one person, and everybody else turns invisible. So, what kind of fucking weapon is that?
No, it only turns the hobbits invisible. It turns the men greedy. It makes Sauron powerful. I don't know what happens to the elves. They get a sense of humor, I guess. I don't know.
I mean,
They get a Peter
it's only
tingle.
really a weapon for Sauron. So, I mean,
Yeah, but it is a weapon.
I'm just going to say this: if we had these two in Mortal Kombat, right? You see
I'm
each of
taking
them.
Wolverine's claws.
I'm taking Wolverine's claws over Frodo and the ring.
So you're
think
going
we'll-
claws.
Mhm.
What do you go, Mike?
Claws.
Oh well, I thought you went to the ring. Oh, that whole fucking discussion. I was like,
No, I was going against the ring, saying, "What kind of fucking
Oh.
weapon is it?" It only
See, I
works
was
for one thing.
I was going with the ring, but it gets outvoted anyway. So it's Wolverine Claws make it to the next round. That brings us to the 6th seed Elder Wand versus Thor's Hammer Mjolnir. I'm going Thor's Hammer on this one.
I think I'm going Elder Wand. It can do a lot more.
Thor's hammer will break the Elder Wand.
I'm just thinking Thor's hammer is like more iconic, and
that's the fact.
and nobody can, only Thor can lift, and Captain America can lift the hammer.
Yeah, well, and if somebody knocks the wand out of your hand, it no longer works for you so well.
Yeah, it belongs to the person who knocked it out of your hand.
If Thor loses his hammer, he just puts his hand out and it comes back to him. Come on.
The Elder Wand's just a horde that gives everybody a turn.
Yeah. So, Mjolnir's coming on. I'm going Mjolnir myself.
Mjolnir, so that's going on to the next round. 7th seed Noisy Cricket versus Cap Shield, the overrated frisbee.
That comes back to him too. So that's I don't know how that works.
I don't know. I think I'm going Noisy Cricket. I just think it's such a fun weapon. I think I'm going to break this thing.
But would it actually blast through
Mm.
the
shield.
shield?
Yeah. Can it destroy
It
my
would
brain?
absorb the power of the Noisy Cricket and bounce it back. Yeah, I'm not that big of an MIB fan. I'm going to go with Cap Shield.
So it's down to you, Mike.
Ooh. I'm going to go with the noisy cricket.
Oh wow! I really was
Yeah.
expecting Cap Shield to get on the next round.
Nah.
All right. Ooh, this is a weird one. The 8th seed Batleth from Star Trek versus the 9th seed the Infinity Gauntlet.
I will go first on this one
Um,
because I have a question.
yes.
Is it just the Infinity Gauntlet, or does it have the actual stone?
It's got to have the stones.
Oh, don't be a fucking nerd.
Because without the stones, it's just a fucking glove.
It has the stones. I already said the gauntlet that can snap away half the universe. So yes, it has the stones. Although if you pay attention to Loki, the stones really don't mean that much in the Loki TV series.
Yeah,
They use them as paperweights at the TVA.
Yeah, everybody has them.
Yeah, I'm going Infinity Gauntlet, sir. As much as I love the Batleth.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with the Infinity Gauntlet myself.
And Kev, you're going Gauntlet too, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. That has our round 2 ready to go here. So in the second round, the first matchup is the number 1 seed, the lightsabers. Let me bring that picture up again. The lightsabers versus, oh wow, the Infinity Gauntlet. The next matchup is the 5th seed, Wolverine's Claws, versus the 4th seed, the Ghostbusters Proton Pack. The next matchup is Freddy's Claws from the 14th seed versus Thor's Hammer, the 11th seed. And the last matchup is number 2 seed, the Phasers from Star Trek versus the Noisy Cricket from MIB. That's a fun matchup. 2 gun weapons. So let's oh my god, I feel like I want to save the gauntlet versus the lightsaber for last.
So let's do
let's go with the lowest seed first, which is Freddy's Glove versus Mjolnir. So 11th seed Mjolnir versus Freddy's Glove. I'm going Thor's Hammer.
Yeah, Mjolnir.
Yeah, I don't think there's an argument on that one. Let's go to Noisy Cricket versus the Phaser.
Phaser.
I think I love the Noisy Cricket. I think it's a fun weapon. I like the Men in Black movies, but the Phaser is just such an iconic weapon in movies.
I'm going with the Phaser as well.
Yeah,
because if you can also put the Phaser to overload and it will blow up. That's a bigger weapon that way too. So,
and you can set it to stun.
Stun.
Oh, you know what weapon I forgot, but I think I would have put it in honorable mentions anyway, is Han Solo's blaster from Star Wars.
Or Chewbacca's
blaster. Or Chewbacca's bowcaster. Which are both like honorable mentions. All right, Proton Pack versus Wolverine's Claws. On this one, I think I will vote against my heart with the Proton Pack and go Wolverine's Claws. I think it's just such a more powerful weapon.
I'll go Wolverine's Claws. I like the Proton Pack as well, but
I'm gonna
go Berserker with the Proton Pack.
Yeah, like who doesn't want to be able to go?
Hey, even Deadpool did it in the last movie.
He also went full human centipede on a couple of TVA agents with Wolverine's bones. All right, so that brings us to the toughest matchup of the night so far, the lightsaber versus the Infinity Gauntlet. Now, here's what I want to say. For me, I'm not voting on which weapon I think can beat the other weapon. I'm voting on which weapon I think is the more iconic of the two, the one that I would wish I had in real life. So that's, for me, is the lightsaber. It's not just a Star Wars thing, not just because I'm a Star Wars fan. I just think the lightsaber is... Even if you're not a fan of Star Wars, you know what a lightsaber is.
Yes.
So that's why I'm going with that one.
Yeah, if we're going with iconic, yes, lightsaber would be the one.
I'd have to agree.
Yep. So that's a clean sweep there. So that brings us to our semifinal round. First seed lightsaber versus fifth seed Wolverine's claws. Second seed phaser from Star Trek versus Thor's hammer, the 11th seed. True underdog story there with Mjolnir. So, which one should we do first?
Let's go to the lower. Let's start with the lower bracket.
Lower bracket is phaser versus Mjolnir. I know what Mike's voting on.
We're going to go with the same thing we did with the lightsaber. If it's the more iconic, phaser's
So
going to be more iconic.
Here goes in phaser. I'm going phaser too, just from an icon standpoint.
I'm going to go with Mjolnir. Just because I know my vote doesn't count.
Mjolnir.
That's happening a lot lately.
Hey, I had a lot tonight that way. Come on.
And now the lightsaber versus Wolverine's claws. I already know what I'm voting for.
Wolverine.
Are you?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Comes down to you, Mike. You know I voted for the lightsaber.
Oh. Ouch. I was hoping just to be the whatever guy. Sorry, Kev, I'm going with lightsaber.
Revoke his X-Men membership.
I was about to say, don't break my heart, Fredo.
I'm losing a membership either way, either my Star Wars or my Wolverine.
It comes down to the final matchup, the matchup that I was hoping for, the one that's going to be the most painful for Mike. The lightsaber in the first seed versus the phaser in the second seed in the finals, the way it should be. Star Wars versus Star Trek. Which toxic fan base will we piss off most?
I will go first on this one.
Phaser.
Because I'm going to go, which one could you actually build at some point, and it will be a phaser? Because a lightsaber...
I'll have to send you the video of the guy that built the plasma sword, yeah.
It's a plasma sword, not a lightsaber.
It's still hot enough to cut through steel. and still slice a tomato with accuracy.
The lightsaber is supposed to be a laser beam.
It can toast a piece of bread as you slice it.
I'm going with the phaser.
All right. Kevin, would you like to vote, or should I vote, or why don't you vote? And then this way
we already know what you're voting for, Lee.
You know what I'm voting for. I'm voting for the lightsaber, so that just means that it comes down to Kevin.
Oh, good. I was hoping for this.
The lightsaber or the phaser?
Last time.
I think it's got to be the lightsaber. Having that on your head,
I thought you were going to tell me it was the field.
Yeah, it was
the field.
The traditional, samurai.
Wow. So the winner, no surprise to this podcaster.
You guys are going to cut your own damn fingers off and legs off with a lightsaber. Well, I'm still going.
I'm pretty sure I'd cut my dick off with it at some point. Yeah.
It's like that meme.
I'm not going to shoot myself with a phaser, okay?
It's like that meme where Obi-Wan gives Luke in A New Hope the
thing, and he turns it on because he looks right down the barrel. Yeah.
That will be you guys. Well, I've still got my lightsaber going.
There's a bunch of videos that somebody edited on YouTube. You got to check them out. They're so funny. It's Obi-Wan and Luke, and it takes the thing where Obi-Wan's like, "Have I ever told you about whatever?" But they add in other characters from the other movie. So he's like, "Luke, have I ever told you about Ahsoka Tano?" And then does this whole thing about her, and it's like, "Have I ever told you?"
Fine piece of ass.
He was the finest piece of jailbait this side of the galaxy. And then he's like, "Have I ever told you the story of Jar Jar Binks?" But then one of my favorite ones is he goes, "Have I ever told you the story of Dexter Jetster?" That's the guy from the diner that he visits in Attack of the Clones.
Jesus Christ.
So no surprise to this podcaster.
Not really. But...
I really wanted it to win anyway. It's the first seed, the lightsaber from Star Wars. I don't think that should be any surprise to anybody. Yeah, it's how can you can't now, honestly, Mike, between the two, like you can't really get any more iconic than either of
No,
those two
you
weapons anyway. You know?
Those two are the most iconic.
Yeah, as far as
I
like,
went with somebody's going to make a real phaser at some point.
yes. Yeah, we all know that somebody's going to make a phaser at some point. We've already seen somebody make a plasma sword that looks like a lightsaber online. We do know that people out there do have mules like Dirk Diggler. So eventually these things will be real. Next time around, we got to do like a fun bracket of fictional sci-fi inventions like the transporter.
Man, I wish I had a transporter.
Yeah, I do too. Every day.
I
When
also wish that all
fix
my
them at home.
molecules would be blown into bits and then reform somewhere else or in the world where.
Okay, Dr. McCoy.
No, the problem with the transport, it's more like the cloning machine in the Prestige. You're gonna have to just drown your clone.
It's more like the machine in The Fly, where you come out and there was a fly caught in the transporter beam, and
that movie, The Substance, I watched the other night was so weird that I had to watch Cronenberg's The Fly in order to wet my palate again. Oh man. So the winner of our bracket tonight, folks, the lightsaber. No surprise to me, or mostly anybody out there probably. So Mike, you have any beer trivia or history for us this evening?
I do. This one's for Kevin.
yay!
According to biologists, men with hairy chests are less genetically likely to become heavy drinkers than men with hairless chests.
Proved them wrong, didn't I?
Less likely to become heavy drinkers because Kevin and I both have. Granted, my chest is not as hairy as Kevin's, but I do have a pretty hairy chest, and I drink fairly heavily.
But genetically, you guys are less likely to be heavy drinkers than I am.
Genetically,
which is true, and because I know how bad I can drink. That's why I drink when I have people around me that are drinking too.
Genetically, I'm a reject of science. We have a quote of the week this week.
Yes, we do. Excuse me. If 1 million people see my movies, I hope they see 1 million different movies. Quentin Tarantino.
Sounds like a very Tarantino quote, as somebody who's such a cinephile like he is.
Mm-hmm.
How are your drinks this evening, gentlemen? I know you guys were both clearing out the fridge, so
I can't go wrong with a longboard.
No, you can't. I love the longboard, and my drink did what it was supposed to do. It warmed me up a little bit because I was cold.
Mine was delightful. Very good, sweet beer for the end of the night. End on a sweet treat.
Sweet treat made of wheat.
Treat.
All right. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight for episode 173, Fictional Movie Weapons, a bracket episode. Again, our winner, no surprise, the lightsaber. We hope you enjoyed listening to the podcast as much as we enjoyed recording it for you. Again, remember, you can drop us an email, filmsandfermentation@gmail.com, or visit linktree.com/filmsandfermentation to find all of our social media and podcast links. Become part of the Films and Fermentation family by supporting us at patreon.com/filmsandfermentation or buying our merchandise at Teespring. You can also text us at 904-867-4466. Don't forget to stop by the Crossroads between Pickled and Fermented. Next time around, we're going to be recording our Thanksgiving episode because the episode will be dropping on Thanksgiving week. We'll be taking some time off for Thanksgiving to spend some time with our families. So this will be the episode taking us into that break. Episode 174 is going to be a deep dive into a Thanksgiving classic, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, a John Hughes film starring John Candy and Steve Martin. A film I haven't seen in a while, so this is a watch I'm looking forward to. So we'll be talking about that next time around. In the meantime, I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
This has been the Films and Fermentation podcast. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.